years. It's time to take control of your future. Welcome to Lakeland University, where you call the shots. We use our flexible learning formats to customize your degree path. In-person, online, and virtual classes are all available. Lakeland University is designed around you, your goals, your schedule, your future. You can even earn up to 25% of your degree via paid work experiences. Ready to take control of your future? Let us customize an education to fit your needs. Visit lakeland.edu/ESPN to learn more.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman, here to tell you about my friends at Bank 5-9. Everywhere I go throughout the area, I see Bank 5-9, and it's no wonder why. Not only do they have 14 branch locations, but their employees spend nearly 9,000 hours each year volunteering in the communities that they serve. That's on top of the financial support that they provide to several hundred nonprofits right here in southeastern Wisconsin. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check them out today at bank59.com. Member FDIC.
Looking for a totally rad flavor adventure, brochachos? Look no further than Surfer Boy Pizza as seen in Stranger Things. Each mouth-watering variety contains rich tomato sauce, delicious mozzarella cheese, and a gnarly range of toppings. The crust is crispy on the outside and airy on the inside. You'll think it was hand-tossed by the Surfer Boy Pizza dudes themselves. Look for it in the freezer aisle at your local store and buckle up your taste buds with Surfer Boy Pizza.
Big trucks can be intimidating. If you've been seriously injured in a truck crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Trucking law can be extremely complicated. You don't want to take on the insurance company alone. Gruber Law Offices has the experience, the resources, and of course, the results. We know truck law. We know the rules and regulations. We know what it takes to win. Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman every day from 2 to 5. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The bag is packed with the sticks. The drinks are cold. And the scorecard's ready to go. Time to hit the links.
And then all of a sudden the putt comes and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I love that.
Just the point of view of the word.
Yeah.
It's time to go on the tee.
We're golfers, man. We're weird.
Sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort.
Yeah, I don't care too much about other things outside of golf.
And Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
If Ricky were to suddenly and unexpectedly pick one off, that would be one of the more feel-good stories.
Alongside PGA Tour Live Stephen Watson, here's Gabe Neitzel.
A championship Sunday edition of On the Tee. Welcome out to beautiful Erin Hills. 80th playing of the U.S. Women's Open, and it should be a dandy today. Should be a spectacular day of golf here at Erin Hills, especially after what we got to witness yesterday. Field was cut down, and the teeth and the golf course started to show its teeth just a little bit. Maya Stark is the leader at 7 under par. The Swede shooting a 70 yesterday, and then the little-known LPGA Tour rookie Julia Lopez Ramirez, alone in second place. She is 6 under par, teeing off with the leader. 1:10 p.m. is their start time here at Erin Hills. Everybody going off of hole 1, playing in twosomes today. More on that in just a little bit. But Rio Takada, Hinaka Shibuno, Mao Saigao, our 36 hole leader, Mao Saigao. All of them at 5 under par and a tied for third. And then Nelly Korda finds herself alone, just 3 shots back. Same place she was yesterday, 4 under par after shooting a 73 yesterday. Minjee Lee, Lynn Grant, Sarah Schmelzel, all just 4 back, lingering as part of that top 10 at 3 under par. So it should be, again, an exciting day today, but I do want to focus a little bit on yesterday. And the one complaint that everybody had back in 2017 is that this golf course just played too easy. There wasn't enough wind. There was a player who just decided to throw, a ball into grass on the 15th hole, by the way, which we'll get into more on the 15th in just a little bit, that had the USGA maybe scared, and they trimmed down some of the tall fescue that had grown out, just a couple of weeks later than we are now, and they had really been able to grow this course into a beast. And it didn't play as tough as everybody was hoping. The wind didn't blow. Well, the wind still hasn't really blown this week. It blew a little bit on Friday, but yesterday was still a pretty calm day. And yesterday was the worst scoring day of the 3 rounds, which is impressive because, again, you had plenty of people well over par, and all of them were cut. And days 1 and days 2 with the full field played easier than just with 60 players yesterday. Scoring average up over 75.23 the scoring average yesterday. So it was tough. Only one round in the 60s. That was it. One single round in the 60s yesterday by Julia Lopez Ramirez as she shot 68. So she was better than anybody else by 2 as she shot up the leaderboard, getting herself into that second place that she currently finds herself in. But the golf course, again, it was some spicy pin locations yesterday. I thought that the 2 holes that really stood out to me watching yesterday were the shorter holes on the front and on the back. You could still get after the par 5s a little bit yesterday. 7 played under par. 1 played almost a half stroke under par. So the par 5s, those were the scoring opportunities. 14 played under par. So plenty of scoring opportunities, chances to go make a number on the par 5s. And 18 played over par. It was the longest at 545 yards. But you saw 2 holes get shortened up a little bit yesterday. Number 2 at 305 yards. And number 15 at just 260 yards. Now, 2 still played as the 13th easiest hole, as the 13th ranked hole throughout the course of the day. And it's a situation where you take a look at what that did in, you take a look at number 2, shortening it up to 305 yards. And that's not reachable for a lot of these women. They were able to bomb it, and you take a slope and you run it down. But where the pin location was yesterday, that was a tricky little chip. If you tried to push up as far as you could and get as close to that green as possible, because it's a really hard green. It kind of sits up on a plateau, and there's a couple of little knobs, and it runs away from you to the back of that green, and that left some tricky little chips. And we saw, you're thinking, 305. You're coming off of a birdie hole on number 1, played as the easiest hole yesterday. You're thinking, okay, let's get off to a really hot start. And that just wasn't the case on number 2. But 15 really is the hole that stole the show yesterday. And it was spectacular to watch. I was so glad they moved the tee up. Now, they moved it back today. It's still going to be playing at 350 yards, 349 yards. Like it did in days 1 and days 2, and they put the pin front right today. But they put the pin all the way in the back, and it was a tough hole. And at 260 yards, a lot of these women were thinking, all right, let's get after this. This is an opportunity to put your foot down. But that green is just so treacherous. And a little bit that in just a little bit of what we're looking at in terms of what that green does. So many, if you were trying to drive it, everything just runs off on all sides. And it's just running all off. And a lot of women, you saw, just kind of put it up on the left-hand side, which left this treacherous putt. And, some were able to 3-putt and make their par. But we saw some people putt off the green, going from eagle putt to making a double. And it's just it was such a fun hole to watch, because in today's day and age in golf, you get that short par 4 and you're thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be the scoreable hole. Maybe we can steal a couple here. We can get, we can make make an eagle potentially. Certainly, just get it up there, 2-putt for your birdie, and move on, and try to, make up for some of the bogeys that were made throughout the course of the day. But that was not the case yesterday. That was not at all the case yesterday at hole number 15, which ended up being, despite being, as I mentioned, the shortest hole, shortest par 4 by far, 260 yards. We're going to see a par 3 at Oakmont in a couple of weeks here on the men's side that's going to play 290 as a par 3. But that was the second hardest hole yesterday. First, the toughest hole yesterday was number 4, played almost a half stroke over par, 4.48. And 15 yesterday, playing 4.47. despite being 260 yards. Now, we saw some players that laid back, got to the base of the hill, right where it starts to climb up where the green is, chip it up there, have good looks at birdie. Nelly probably hit one of the best shots that I saw, and I think you can make the case that she even got a little unlucky that the ball didn't run out just a little bit more, but she was able to fly it to the front part of that green, the front right, instead of bailing out to the left side and kind of a little bowl collection area that left an incredibly tough putt that we just talked about. But she got to that front side, didn't hit the greatest first putt, but was able to two-putt, and that kind of, again, was able to propel her. Then she makes a birdie there, ended up making, that was her second consecutive birdie, made a birdie on 18 coming in to put her in a position to make up for the 40 she shot on the front nine. But I think yesterday, Erin Hills, as somebody who loves this golf course, you hear Steven and I talk about how this is, kind of our happy place and how much we love what they've been able to do out here at Erin Hills. Yesterday, the course showing the teeth that it did, despite not having the wind everybody was hoping for. I think a lot of people from Erin Hills, from the USGA, were walking away going, yes, this is the way we know that this course can play. And we'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing today with some of these pin locations. They stretched it out today. Yesterday played under 6,700 yards, and a lot of that has to do with, of course, moving up 2 to 305, moving up 15 to 260 yards. So you're trimming almost 100 yards off of hole number 15. But today it's basically playing almost all the way back, 6,807 yards, which is right around what was the advertised length of what Erin Hills was going to be. And some of those par fives have been stretched out. Today, the mentioned 2, that's now 329 yards. Mentioned number 15 stretched back out to 349 yards, shortening up a couple of the par 3s. 6 had played at, upwards of 180 yards. That's going to be 162 yards today. So that was one of the fun parts about this golf course is they could just play around with the teeing grounds. They can shorten holes. They can lengthen holes. And the greens are so big that you can shorten and lengthen holes just based on pin location as well. But those pin locations yesterday had everybody paying attention. And the fact that we only had one round in the 60s, only a handful of rounds under par. When I was looking at the leaderboard earlier today, just getting ready for the final round today, I mean, yes, the top 3 all shot under par yesterday. Maya Stark, Julio Lopez Ramirez, and Rio Takada all shooting under par. But then the next 3, Shibuno, Saigo, Korda, all over par. So it's just this interesting mix of these players in the top 10, top 13, because there's a 3-way tie for top 10 for 10th right now. It's kind of split of how they played yesterday. Some were under par, some were over par. Mao Saigo, after shooting the best round of the tournament at 66 in round 2, shot 75 yesterday. 9-shot difference between her 2 rounds, but she's still right there, only 2 shots back. As her putter let her down a little bit yesterday, thought that was, could have been the case and kind of crept up on her. Sarah Schmelzel just could not get a putt to fall, burned edges as she shot over par, but she's still in the tournament at just 3 under par. So, again, a lot of players still alive in this tournament, especially when you start talking about how it played to, over 75 scoring average, over 3 over par was the scoring average yesterday for the top 60 players who made this cut in this field. And I was so happy that Erin Hills showed some teeth and showed that it can be a proper test. It's not just going to be this bomb and gouge place that a lot of the men turned it into back in 2017. This was a really stern test, and I'm hoping that can continue today. That Zach Reineking, who is, the co-general manager out here now, as he got a promotion just a couple of weeks ago at Erin Hills, but him and his maintenance staff are going to make sure that this course is humming today for Championship Sunday. I hope you get an opportunity to come and check it out on Championship Sunday. The crowds yesterday, absolutely fantastic. Hope you get a chance to come check it out today. But we've got plenty more to preview for the championship round of the 80th playing of the U.S. Women's Open here at Erin Hills. We'll be joined by somebody from the USGA, plus we want to hear reaction for some of those names at the top of the leaderboard that we had mentioned, from Maya Stark, Julio Lopez Ramirez, Nelly Korda, just a mixture of Again, Nelly Corda, two-time major champion. Maya Stark has never won a major, but she's been playing better the last couple of years in major championships. At the Chevron in 24, she finished second T9 at the U.S. Women's Open just 2 years ago. And then you have somebody in Julia Lopez Ramirez who is playing in her first major championship in the United States. 2 previous major championships for the Spaniard, and she played in the Women's British Open twice as an amateur. So now she's got an opportunity as a pro to play in the final group in her first stateside major championship. So much excitement, so many things to get into, and we're going to get into it all as we continue coming up next on the Tee.
Back to the course and on the tee with Gabe and Steven after this on 94.5 ESPN. You remember the moments from that magical March.
Side Decker, it's a 3. Got it!
On June 26th, celebrate the squad with Made 'em Believe, a special night with Bo Ryan, Frank Kaminsky, and Sam Decker.
Here's Kaminsky, the drop stab, that's his favorite. And the 2.
Presented by Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Potosi Varsity Ale, and Potosi Hard Seltzer. Tickets are on sale now at UWHoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom! That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. Go behind the scenes of the Emmy-nominated Giannis documentary. Get the real story of the blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard. Hear the origin of Bucks in 6. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, it's Brad Nortman, and I've got to tell you about my go-to car wash, Tsunami Express. Get your ride looking its best and ride the wave at Tsunami Express Car Wash, Milwaukee's fan favorite for that perfect shine. Sign up for a monthly membership and enjoy unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Skip the wait with the fast lane and take advantage of great perks. With locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, and Mount Pleasant, Tsunami Express has you covered. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Visit TsunamiExpress.com to learn more.
It's a home run! But wait, is your roof ready for the big league storms? If your roof has more holes than a catcher's mitt, it's time to bring in the pros. At Avondale Roofing, we've been handling leaks, repairs, and full replacements with major league precision for over 30 years. And as a GAF Master Elite certified contractor, we bring top-tier quality and proven performance to every job. Whether it's a quick patch-up or full upgrade, our team steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park every time. You're out! Don't wait till water's in your dugout. Call Avondale Roofing today and keep your home in the win column.
Your current car? Soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score and score monitoring on most new consumer checking accounts. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit monitor from Associated Bank. See AssociatedBank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process. Hey, it's Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The We Sell group at Keller Williams has a goal of making it stress-free for everyone. Their passion is people, their availability is unmatched, something I'm experiencing firsthand while I search for a lake home to enjoy Wisconsin summers even more. Rob and Nick are there every step of the way, not just for their sellers, but also to potential buyers and their agents to bring in as many strong offers as possible. Get started today at WeSell.kw.com. That's WeSell.kw.com.
You're listening to On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
We built a roundhouse somehow, with our hands over our hearts, and we swore on that day.
Championship edition of On the Tee. Final round at the 80th U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills. Gabe Neitzel with you. Stephen Watson. He'll be back on Tuesday when we recap it. He's planning on being out here for a lot of the championship round later today. But now we're joined by Brian McGee from the USGA. Brian, thank you so much for jumping on, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So how long have you been involved with this? Because I know sometimes with USGA employees, you're involved early, then sometimes they come in late. How long have you been involved with the 80th U.S. Open here at Erin Hills?
So our team has directly been working on this one for about 2.5 to 3 years. We made our first visit several years ago, met with Chris Schoonover, who's our general chair for the club. Met with all their leadership, started working on the operational plan that you see today, where all of our facilities are located, and started working really in the community with all of our, township partners, law enforcement partners, etc. So it's been a 2.5 to 3 year process. We've enjoyed every bit of it. This has been a great place, a great host club for us. Everyone around this community has really supported this championship, and I think you can see that by the last few days here. We've had beautiful weather, and the whole entire community's came out to support the best players in the game. So it's been an awesome week so far, and it's nice to see. I know it's all for 7 days, but the last 2.5 years of work has really been worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the course looks beautiful. Playing very tough yesterday. Who do I have to write a letter to thank for the hole 15 yesterday? Not just the pin location, moving it up. It was so much fun to watch because it's 260 yards, and these women are going, 260, here we go, licking their chops. And
it's awesome.
You hit a little bit of a shot that ends up a little left, and you're going, okay, I guess 4 is going to be a tough score, and ended up playing as the second hardest hole yesterday.
Yeah, that's a testament to Shannon Royard from our team. She with Zach Reikkinen, who's the superintendent here at Erin Hills, they've been in touch, and Shannon's been making trips here for the past couple of years as well, just really identifying hole locations for the golf course with tee boxes she wants to use. That planning happens so far in advance as well, just like us from an operational standpoint. And Zach with the team at Erin Hills has just been fantastic to work with as well. So the course is definitely going to present a challenge today, and whoever ultimately ends up hoisting that trophy has definitely earned it throughout the week.
Brian McGee joining us here from the USGA as we get ready for the final round of the U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills. When you get involved in the process, like what change? Are there any changes you're making? Any plans that you're already starting to think of 2.5 years in advance? How long is? I mean, what kind of steps are you doing 2.5 years out before you get to this week?
Yeah, obviously our priority number one is ensuring that all of the players who get invited to this championship have a great experience. So that's identifying, locker room locations, hospitality spaces, where their physio is going to be, where their gym's going to be. But and then outside of the player, we start to think about the fan experience, and the big one here that has been really awesome for us this week is due to the vast size of this property, we've been able to park everybody on site. Normally, if you go to any other golf tournament around the country, you're parking off site, taking a 15 to 20 minute shuttle. So we've been really fortunate that we've been able to park all of our fans on site, and I think that's shows that they've come out, and luckily we dodged some weather earlier this week as well, so that gave us the opportunity to park them on site. But that was one of the big things that puzzle pieces that we tried to work on throughout the past couple of years, is giving the fans the best experience possible. And we think having them be able to pull up, go through the gate, and start watching golf right away, and not having to go off site to a parking lot and start hopping on a shuttle and then have to take one home. So that was one of our main focal areas going into this week.
This is one of just a handful of golf courses in the country that's now hosted a U.S. Women's Open, a Men's Open. The amateurs come here. The Women's Am is coming back. The Men's Am is coming back with all the other amateur championships that were announced last year by the USGA. What is it about this property and this golf course in your mind that makes it so attractive for, again, not just this championship, but the 4-ball and the amateurs and the juniors, and making it just kind of, across every championship you guys have at the USGA?
Yeah, absolutely. I've said it a couple times this week. It's very rare for the same golf course to host a U.S. Men's Open and a Women's Open in the same decade, and obviously Erin Hills did that in 2017 and now 2025 with a lot of amateur championships coming too. I think that it's a testament to the people who work here. Chris, Zach, the entire team, Andy Bush, who's the president of Erin Hills, they want to host the best players in the world. They've really been super accommodating to us at the USGA about coming in and, setting up the golf course the way we wanted and building all of our outside the ropes facilities the way that we envision. So it's a testament to that entire team, how welcoming they are. But I think from a golf course standpoint, it's the challenge. It's the walk for 4 days of a championship round, including practice rounds, is definitely a mental and physical test for all the players. And then to the point you made earlier, when the wind blows, this place gets really, really complicated. So I think from a golf course standpoint, we want to challenge the best players in the world. We want to get every club in their bag dirty, and I think that's what you're going to see today.
Brian McGee from the USGA joining us here on the tee. What's been the best part about the week for you?
Best part about the week has just been the fans. It's something we always tell our team is just, obviously we put a lot of work into this the past 2 or 3 years. Just sit back, go walk around, see a family, see a young girl that gets super close to a player like Nelly Korda with just a smile on their face, and that makes all of it worth it. And I think we've seen that a lot this week. Obviously the players have been super gracious with the fans. They all love the support, signing autographs left and right. I've been watching them all in the practice areas, just taking their time to meet with everybody. So I think that's the best part about the week, is just seeing all the fans come out, support this championship and really support the players that are involved.
If you were a fan, what would be the priority for you today? If you were coming out on property, what would be a goal of, okay, I need to make sure I go do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, we're still selling tickets on site. You can still come on site to enjoy the championship. We're going to have a beautiful day. I think it's going to be like 75 degrees and sunny, so I would get here early.
That's all.
I would get here early, watch the final groups, warm up on the range in the practice green, and then I would definitely go scope out a couple of the key holes. One of the really entertaining holes is going to be hole number 9, which is a par 3, and then obviously the holes down the stretch, 16, 17, and 18. With how the leaderboard's packed right now, it's going to be a tight finish. So I would definitely enjoy my time out on the golf course. Try to look at every hole. It's definitely a big property to walk, so I would hang out around number 9 a lot, and then obviously our finishing holes.
One of my favorite parts, as we talked with Brian McGee from the USGA, one of my favorite parts about this leaderboard, and I think this proved to be true back in 2017 as well, it's a number of different styles of players. Yeah. It's not just, oh, you need to be long to compete here. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. It's a number of different styles, and I think that's what makes this an attractive championship as well. Going into today, it's not just, oh, you need to do this in order to compete at Erin Hills. A number of different styles work.
Every skill that you have, every club in your bag is going to be tested, and I think that's a testament to Shannon and her team who set up the golf course. They really want to make this a challenge for the players. And I said before, if you've been out there, whether as a fan or you played Erin Hills in the past as a player, the walk is pretty brutal. So whoever ends up hoisting that trophy at the end of the day has definitely earned it. But yeah, it'll definitely be a challenge.
What do you think is the toughest hole out here today? I mean, yesterday 15 ended up being the second hardest hole, but what do you think is the hardest hole out here today?
I would say 15 is going to be very tough again. We'll have to see. It's
it's tough.
15 is tough, but obviously it's only about 9:30 in the morning. Leaders don't tee off for a couple more hours. We'll see what the wind does and the weather, but it'll be interesting to see the first couple groups that have already been out there, what kind of scores they're shooting. I'm sure some of the leaders are watching the coverage and paying attention to how some of these players are attacking the pin to try to take some notes to hopefully help out their round later. But it's going to be an awesome Sunday, and we're really looking forward to seeing how it shakes out.
Yeah, the scoring average ended up being over 75 yesterday, ended up being the toughest day so far. When the USGA is setting up a golf course, I feel like back in the 90s, early 2000s, it's got to be over par. That's got to be the winning score. That seems to have softened over the last number of years, but I also feel it's still remained a very stern test. What is the philosophy when setting up a championship for the USGA?
Yeah, I think it's the key is it needs to be tough, but it needs to be fair, and I think they've done a good job of that this week. And like I said, you want to test not only the players' physical games, but their mental game as well. You want to make sure they use every club, and I think one of the interesting things about Erin Hills is it's such a big property with so many different tee boxes and angles that you really do have the creative ability to play these holes in a one way on Friday and a completely different way on Saturday if you wanted to. To your point, they had obviously a drivable par 4 yesterday, which makes things really, really exciting. And then the ultimate factor, is weather, which we had a little bit this week, on Thursday and Friday, sometimes between the morning and afternoon wave, depending on what draw you got. The course played a little bit easier, but today it looks like it's going to be pretty beautiful throughout the day. So,
well, again, I think that's on the par 3s too. 6 played at 180 yards earlier this week, 160 yards today.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of different ones. They were playing it all the away on the right-hand side on Thursday on number 9, and they've just got a number of different options, especially with number 9's green coming in at different angles.
They always say that's the toughest par 5 on the golf course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the shortest par 5 in Wisconsin. That's been the cliche at Erin Hills here for years, but it's true. And I mean, I sat there on Thursday. I saw some people, stuff it. I saw somebody 4-putt for a double. It just coming in at different angles. I think that makes it kind of attractive in terms of setup too, because it's not any one hole is going to play the same on any given day.
Yep, and like I said, this golf course is so big. You have so many opportunities to play these holes differently, and the team here really does a good job. And I think the one key thing, about Erin Hills that obviously some people, might not know is they were so focused on this championship that they decided to not even open the first few weeks of their season, which is just an awesome thing that they could do, that they were able to kind of sacrifice the play for that to just make sure that they could present this golf course the best on the global stage for the best women players in the world. And we can't thank them enough for that. That made a huge difference for us operationally to be able to set this up without play going on. And then obviously the condition of the golf course without having 4 to 5 weeks of play on it is just pristine.
Well, I mean, the greens are always going to be just pure. They were for the men back in 17, and it seems very similar this year because of that and the sacrifice that Erin Hills and their staff made.
It's been amazing. That whole team's been phenomenal, and like I said, we can't thank them enough for the sacrifices that they made and the time that they've put in. It's funny, obviously golf course maintenance staff, you always see them come in at 3 a.m. to get the work done. I've even still been here 10, 11 p.m. and they're still out working on the golf course. So it really truly does feel like a 24-hour operation, and they definitely deserve a lot of the credit for how great this golf course looks.
Brian, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on a great championship. I hope you get to enjoy Championship Sunday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Brian McGee from the USGA joining us here on the tee. We're going to hear from some of the competitors and the challengers for that U.S. Open Championship trophy coming up next on the tee.
No ifs, ands, or puts. There's more On the Tee with Gabe and Steven coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller from Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more. Custom T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, you name it, we can do it. Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more is family-owned and all about celebrating life's big moments. Maybe it's a milestone birthday, a celebration for your child's first goal, or that work fundraising event. We are everyone's printer. No minimum orders, affordable designs, and help straight from me and our team. We're the one-stop shop for all your custom needs. Start your project today at bigfrog.com/Mequon.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman, here to tell you about my friends at Bank 5-9. Everywhere I go throughout the area, I see Bank 5-9, and it's no wonder why. Not only do they have 14 branch locations, but their employees spend nearly 9,000 hours each year volunteering in the communities that they serve. That's on top of the financial support that they provide to several hundred nonprofits right here in southeastern Wisconsin. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check them out today at bank59.com. Member FDIC.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Make plans to stop by Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square. Experience Milwaukee's favorite beer garden, the perfect spot to meet up with friends in the Third Ward. Open Wednesday through Sunday with live music Thursday through Saturday. Good times and great vibes await at Third Ward Beer Garden.
Sip into a flawless summer. Hey, it's KBN's Brad Nortman. Let carbless, ready-to-drink cocktails be your passport to pool parties, patio hangouts, cookouts, and pure summer bliss. Carbless is here to spark a summer of flavor and fun. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, just 100 calories, and of course, all the good vibes. From fruity flavors to refreshing fizz, Carbless stands out in a sea of same old seltzers. See what flavors fit your summer. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com and enter to win a flawless summer prize pack today.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just for you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. This is On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
Tough day yesterday at the U.S. Women's Open, waiting to see how tough it is going to be today. Yesterday, scoring average up over 75 as Erin Hills played the toughest it has in all 3 rounds. And again, if you're not a huge fan of golf, that's really hard to accomplish because you factor in, all these average scores when you have 156, women who are out there going around and playing the golf course. So you've got, an amateur who was 23 over par, a couple of players near 20 over par. And yet the golf course somehow played easier with all those women versus just the 60 who made the cut yesterday, with a scoring average over 75. And a lot of that was on the greens. Maya Stark is the round 3 leader at 7 under par. And Maya talked about just how difficult it is to putt on these greens at Erin Hills.
Oh, it's so hard because they tend to put holes that are right on the edges of the slopes, so you can see going into the grain and up until the hole, and then after the hole you just see that the grain is going the other way. So it's just so hard to get the distances right, and it's really scary also when you know that if you putt this 5 feet by, then that's gone. So yeah, it's just a big test.
Yeah, and you hear her talk about it. You hear it in her voice about how big of a test it is, which is why it's so important. The winner today is going to put this ball in the right spots. In some major championships, Stephen and I have talked about this, especially on the men's side, where you miss in the right spot, it's kind of easier to get up and down. Or you miss in the wrong spot, sometimes it's easier to get it up and down. That's not the case at Erin Hills. These are very large greens. Again, I keep going back to the example of number 15 yesterday of, it's a larger green. You bail out a little bit on the left-hand side, and it becomes a really tough, even 3-putt sometimes for the women who are able to drive the green to walk away with their par. So if you miss in the wrong spots, it can be a very difficult spot to, very difficult to make your 2-putt, to make your par. It can be difficult to try to get up and down if you end up missing in the wrong spots. Because once you are in that right spot, then you can be a little more aggressive with that putter. You can be a little bit more aggressive, kind of coming up the hills, coming up the slopes, using those slopes to your advantage with your approach shots. If you're in the right spot off the tee, so it's about being in the right spots at all times out at Erin Hills. Even though the fairways are wide, the greens are big, you still have to be very precise with where you want to be if you want to score. And one of those players who really struggled a little bit yesterday was Nelly Korda. And kudos to Nelly, because I thought she had shot herself out of it. She came in. I sat here on the show yesterday going, hey, as well as she is hitting it, if she can figure out the putting just a little bit. Well, she really didn't figure out the putting on the front side, as she ended up making 4 bogeys, and she shot 40. She was 4 over par after her first 9 holes yesterday, seemingly fading away. But then she turned it around on the backside, started to start making more pars. On the par 5 14th, she makes a birdie. On the 15th, she drives it in a spot where not a lot of people did in the front right part of that green, ends up 2-putting, making a birdie. And then made a birdie on 18, although that one didn't look like it was going to go down. Nelly talked about having that putt disappear and what it means going forward for her today.
It was funny. The greens are tricky out here. Sometimes they're a little hard to read, especially today on some of the ridges where it can break left, it can break right. That was kind of one of those putts where you're like, okay, straight in is a little too simple. So I may have pushed it just a tiny bit, but right as it was like kind of midway there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed it right. And then sometimes you just have to get lucky. It was a nice ice cream swirl around the cup.
It looked like it was going to lip out, and for her, fortunately, it did not. So she ends up going 40-33, only shoots 1 over par after making those 3 birdies on that backside. So she is right back in this championship, right back where she was yesterday, just 3 shots back. Now, granted, because yesterday went off in groups of 3 on both tees. Today it's just groups of 2, so she's not going to be in that final group. But still, there's going to be a gravity I think she has on the leaderboard as she tries to continue to make the push for her first U.S. Open championship. That's going to be something that's really interesting for her today, sitting all the way back there, just 3 shots back. She does have some players she certainly needs to leapfrog, and if she goes out in 40 today, that's going to be it. So she has to find whatever it was on the back 9, where she shot a 3 under 33. She has to find that on the front side. Not saying that she needs to go out there and shoot 66, which would match the low round of the tournament, but you have to limit the mistakes, and it's been the putter. She's 52nd in putting this week, and that is by far the worst of anybody who's in that top 6. In that top 6, Maya Stark is 9th. She's leading the tournament. Julia Lopez Ramirez, she's 12th in second place. Rio Takada, 26th. Hikano Shibuno, she's 3rd. Mao Saigao, she's 6th. You've got 4 of those top 6 inside the top 12. Rio Takada is 26th, and then Nelly sitting there at 52nd. And again, if you stretch that out even past that, it's by far the worst putting of anybody. If she just finds a little something with that putter, she could quickly shoot up this leaderboard and start putting pressure on everyone in front of her, because nobody in front of her, Maya Stark, Julia Lopez Ramirez, Rio Takada, and Hikano Shibuno, all of them have never won a major championship. Mao Saigao has. She won, and it was a little bit of a different spot for her when she won the Chevron earlier this season on the LPGA Tour. She hung around, ended up in a playoff, and then picked off her first major by winning a massive playoff that they had at the Chevron Championship. If Nelly Korda starts chasing down, some of these players that don't have the experience that she does, maybe they start seeing her name coming up the leaderboard and they become just a little bit concerned and they become a little bit worried. Keep talking about Julia Lopez Ramirez. She is an incredible story. She's an incredible player. And she talked about being in this spot for the first time. This is her first ever major here in the United States, twice in 23 and 24. She played the Women's British Open. And again, as an amateur, because she qualified for it as an amateur. She just turned professional in 2024. And in December, earned her LPGA Tour card. So this is her first year out on the LPGA Tour. She's a rookie. But here she finds herself in the final group at the U.S. Women's Open, and talked about the experiences that she's going to try and draw on as she's teeing it up later this afternoon.
I definitely agree with that. The greens were playing a lot tougher, very quick. Pins were tucked in, so I thought that was definitely a lot different than the last couple of days. I just feel like I put myself in a patient situation and attack pins when I can, play in the middle of the green when it's not possible. So obviously I feel like I just get myself in the right places to be and not make mistakes when I I cannot make them. So I think that's the difference from the last couple of days.
And that's what she's going to have to try to do, really looking back at some. And she's been in some pretty high-pressure situations, as she mentioned. Won 8 individual titles in college at Mississippi State, including back-to-back SEC championships. She was the SEC Golfer of the Year, after winning that much and then, turning around and deciding to turn pro at the back part of last year after, going through Mississippi State University for a handful of years. She left college early to become a pro, and she's an incredibly talented player. She's won the European Ladies Amateur. Won that in Sweden in 2023. That gave her the start in the 23 British Women's Open. She was the number 1 amateur in the rankings in July 2024 before she decided to turn pro. So all the talent is there. It's just coming together. And she is a name that I am going to be most curious to see just exactly how she handles all of the pressure going into a Sunday. Playing in that final group of a major, third ever major you've played yourself in. And like she said, when you're in those moments of the championships that she's won, like in the SEC, like that's the most important thing to you in that moment. So the pressure is pretty, it can be similar. It's just how big do you make it in your mind? Okay, this is the U.S. Women's Open. This is, the biggest purse of the 5 majors that they play on the LPGA. $12 million purse. Winner share is $12.4 million. And what that can do for you, and again, all the status it can get you and kind of secure your spot on that tour as a major champion as she continues to try to grow in her career, despite being just 22 years old. Maya Stark comes into this as the leader at 25 years old, playing some better championship major golf over the last 2 seasons, but both of them without that major. Can they step up and answer the call? That's going to be the interesting thing. That's going to be the fun thing about that final group, especially if you get some of those, Maya Saigao or Nelly Korda rolling, coming up the leaderboard behind them. Minjee Lee is just been kind of hanging around in the back part of that leaderboard as well, as she tries to fight her way. She's sitting back there at T7, along with Lynn Grant and Sarah Schmelzel. A lot of talented names. Sarah Schmelzel looking for that first ever win on the LPGA Tour. How crazy would that be if she could make that a major championship? We're going to continue to talk about those leaders, what we think is going to be in play today. Maybe make a major championship prediction on who's going to walk away with that trophy later today as we continue on the tee.
No ifs, ands, or puts. There's more On the Tee with Gabe and Steven coming up on 94.5 ESPN. You remember the moments from that magical March.
Side Decker, it's a 3. Got it!
On June 26th, celebrate the squad with Made 'em Believe. A special night with Bo Ryan, Frank Kaminsky, and Sam Decker.
Here's Kaminsky, the drop stab. That's his favorite. And the 2.
Presented by Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Potosi Varsity Ale, and Potosi Hard Seltzer. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe. June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
I'm Monica Kessler.
Monica makes sure that everything at Kessler's is worthy of a lifetime warranty.
The quality of your ring is incredibly important when it comes to diamond setting, ring sizing, and repairs.
Monica has been part of Kessler's since she was 6 years old.
Let me tell you how to judge the quality of the jewelry you're buying.
It's easier than you think.
All you have to do is read the warranty.
Most stores offer a 5-year warranty, but Kessler's offers a lifetime warranty, the strongest in the world.
We can do it because we put more gold in your jewelry.
When a jeweler wants to make a bigger profit, they put less gold into the jewelry. This makes it thinner and easier to break.
Theirs might look like ours at first glance, but Kessler's jewelry is made not to break, and that takes more gold.
We give you a lifetime warranty because our jewelry is made to last forever, just like your love.
Gold is more than $2,000 an ounce.
Kessler's gives you more gold, a lot more gold.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Looking to transform your home with stylish furniture and home accessories without breaking the bank? At your local IKEA in Oak Creek, they believe everyone deserves a beautiful and affordable living experience that enhances your everyday life. From comfortable and fashionable sofas and sectionals, to kitchens full of inspiration, to bedrooms designed to help you find your best sleep and relaxation, IKEA's home furnishing combines form and function to fit any lifestyle and budget. Visit IKEA Oak Creek today or explore their collection online at ikea.com/US.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
Hey, it's Brad Nortman, and I've got to tell you about my go-to car wash, Tsunami Express. Get your ride looking its best and ride the wave at Tsunami Express Car Wash, Milwaukee's fan favorite for that perfect shine. Sign up for a monthly membership and enjoy unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Skip the wait with the fast lane and take advantage of great perks. With locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, and Mount Pleasant, Tsunami Express has you covered. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Visit TsunamiExpress.com to learn more.
At Citizens Bank, community banking is you, growing your business with a partner who gets it. It's you, buying your first home with a lender who makes it easy. It's you, building a future with savings that work just as hard as you. And it's us, working together to strengthen our community. Because at Citizens Bank, community banking means you plus us. Visit us at citizensbankwi.bank. Citizens Bank is member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Turn those hoop dreams into reality with Precision Sports, your one-stop shop in southeastern Wisconsin for Mega Slam, Ironclad, and Dominator basketball hoop systems. Installation of new or old hoops and completely customizable painted court lines. PrecisionSportsOnline.com.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
On the Tee. Still a couple of hours from hearing that for the final group of Maya Stark and Julio Lopez Ramirez. A couple of internationals on top of that leaderboard. And as is the case, when it comes to the women's game, it's an international flavor at the top. Maya Stark from Sweden, Julio Lopez Ramirez from Spain, the triumvirate from Japan of Ryo Takada, Hinako Shibuno, Mao Saigao, all out of Japan, Nelly Korda from the United States, Australia's Minjee Lee, another Swede in Lynn Grant on top. Out of Mexico, Gabby Lopez, out of China, Ronnie Yin. So much international flavor on top of that leaderboard. It's going to be interesting to see who is able to claim this year's U.S. Women's Open. And as we were talking a little bit, there's no one skill that's necessarily dominating, where you're seeing, all the leaders, this is what they're doing that's been able to separate them throughout the course of this tournament, as we see from time to time where, you've got to be a big bomber, you have to hit the ball long in order to compete here. And that has just not been the case. Maya Stark leading the tournament. She's 28th in strokes gained off the tee. Julia Lopez Ramirez, now she's third. Nelly Korda, second. Minjee Lee is sixth, Lynn Grant first. But then you've got some more, the Japanese women are 15th, 14th, and 30th, all sitting there still at T3, just a couple of shots back. Approach play, now that's what Maya Stark has been using in order to get herself into contention. But Hinako Shibuno, 56th in approach play. Minjee Lee is 27th. Julio Lopez Ramirez, 24th. Still solid, but that's not okay. This is what's getting you in that position. And then putting as well. Mentioned how Nelly Korda has really struggled with putting. She's 53rd. Yeah, you've got a lot of other players up there. Maya Stark, 9th. Shibuno's 3rd. Saigau's 6th. But no one skill right now is dominating at the U.S. Women's Open. which is going to make things very interesting. What's going to be able to hold up? Is Mao Saigau's putter going to be able to continue to, save her from some of the places she found herself in yesterday? Is she going to be able to putt her way out of that? Is Nelly Korda going to be able to continue to drive the ball accurately and put it in spots where maybe only Julia Lopez Ramirez can find herself? And, in terms of distance, because those are two of the longer hitters. Same thing with Minjee Lee. Can those players, having wedges in their hand or shorter clubs in their hand on a lot of these holes, end up leading them to a major championship here today at the U.S. Women's Open? And all those questions are the ones that become incredibly interesting, because it's not just one style of play, which is why I cannot recommend enough. I've been saying this all week, and if you've been on the fence, just come out. Tickets are available on site. You can get the tickets out here. You park on site, and as was pointed out, there is a shuttle system that they have inside. So inside the grounds. So if you get out here and you want to go to, let's go check out 15. Go out something on the back part of the property. Go check out 15. Walk around on 16, 17 as those players are, playing those ever important holes to win out here at Erin Hills. You can take a little shuttle out there. I've known a lot of people that have come out here. It is going to be a beautiful day. Cannot recommend and do Brian McGee from the USGA, who joined us, Chris Schoonover, who joined us yesterday, recommend that people come out here enough, because it's going to be a beautiful day. And you just don't know when we're going to have another professional major championship where the best pros in the world are going to be on display like they are today here at Erin Hills. One quick little interesting story that I didn't even realize until I started doing more digging on Julia Lopez Ramirez. Again, is in second place, shot the low round of the day yesterday at 68. She is one of the longer hitters. And she was asked earlier this week about, hey, why do you hit it so long? I don't know. Some people say it's my legs. Some people say it's because I ride motorbikes, so my forearms are strong, which is a new one on me, which is something I had never heard before. And she talked a little bit about that again yesterday, because she found herself, after having the round of the day, in the interview room. So it's just one of those, she's an interesting player, a young player that could be certainly an interesting character throughout the course of today. When it comes to who's going to win, I'm very curious to know how this golf course is going to play. I can't wait to see some of the earlier players, and after we're done here in just a matter of minutes, kind of walk around the course and see what some of those pin locations look like. I know on 15 it's front right, but because the hole is playing back farther, you're going to have to make sure you hit a good shot and you control your wedge spin into that hole today in order to attack that pin. But what's 2 going to be playing like? 3 and 4 at times have been the hardest holes out on the golf course. With no wind, where's that pin on number 9 today? Are they going to be able to attack that? So the first storyline for me today is, is the golf course going to bite like it did yesterday? Or are they going to lighten it up just a little bit? But again, based on some of the setup things that they've done out here, again, they've kind of dictated. 9's been the toughest hole. 15's been the toughest. Sometimes those shorter holes have been the toughest ones. We already knew about 9, and if you've played out here, you know how hard 15 can play. So it's not just about the brute length of this golf course. It's, how strategic can you be with some of the pin locations on these greens? So how hard is that golf course going to play is going to be number 1. Because if it's an easier day, if it goes back to, kind of being a little bit easier the way it was on Friday, maybe some of these players can pin their ears back. That's when Mao Saigau was able to shoot a tournament best 66 out here at Erin Hills. And, maybe take some of the pressure off of Maya Stark and Julia Lopez Ramirez at the top of that leaderboard. But the second story to me is, is Nelly Korda going to make some noise? And she's going to have to make some noise on the front 9. The back has been playing easier just about every day throughout the course of this tournament. The back 9 just has had more scoring opportunities. 15 has been a scoring hole at times, but 14 has been one of the more gettable par 5s. 14, 7, 1 have been playing basically under par. Now 18 can be tough. You're going to have to hit a good second shot to put yourself in a position to be able to hit a good wedge or little chip shot onto that green. But it's one of those, back 9 has been playing easier, but can you make a move and be patient enough on that front side? 1, certainly being a par 5, and Nelly, with the length she has, she's probably thinking birdie there. But being patient on 2, despite it being a shorter hole, finding a way to navigate the longer holes 3, 4. Again, looking at some of the flags out here on the driving range, wind seems to be down. So 5 has been downwind most times today. That's been a scoring opportunity for a lot of these players. But can you kind of put your foot down and find a way to make a little bit of noise instead of having